RMJ movie reviews back again with the rest of my Halloween horror movie reviews. With I just found this guys right on a whim. I'm Ghoulies. Okay, this is what I'm doing a review of, not Ghoulies 2. But this is the double pack from Scream Factory, and we know Scream Factory has been putting out all the classic obscure horror films, and I saw this strangely at Best Buy. You guys know you would never find something like this at Best Buy. Guys, Ghoulies, being an 80s baby, Ghoulies, of course, is one of the staples of my 80s childhood horror video, cable TV memories. I first remember seeing the film when a cousin of mine, my aunt, let him rent it from the video store because, there was no IMDb, there was no internet, there was no Twitter, there was none of that back in those days. So there was this little monster guy on the cover here. My aunt just assumed that with the PG-13 rating and that it was for kids. And, Ghoulies is really more of a soft horror picture. I think the content is a little bit dark, but I'll get into that later. But either way, guys, look. I'm not going to defend Ghoulies. I unabashedly admit that I really like Ghoulies. And that's not me saying that the film is good. I think this is a case of my nostalgia for Ghoulies is so strong that I really overlook how bad it actually is, and I give it a pass. It's bad, guys. I know it is. It's not good, but I like this movie. I really do. The interesting thing about rewatching it, because I had not seen the film, I hadn't seen the film in quite a few years. It'd been a long time since I had seen this movie. It struck me off guard was how little the Ghoulies are actually in this movie. And they're not really even a main part of the story. And another thing I might add too is that the Ghoulies really, like if you watch a movie like Gremlins or Critters, it makes sense. Like they actually are a part of the main story. They have a storyline. The Ghoulies here have no storyline. They have no storyline. They have actually no connection to the main story. What little there is, at any fashion, none at all. There's nothing to them. I mean, they don't even really operate on the level of just like, I mean, they operate just to kind of kill people, but they really serve no purpose other than to have a cool 1980s puppet special effect, practical in camera. That's essentially their purpose. This is a special edition, so there's actually I believe it's a half an hour making of. It's really just a description of how the film was financed and how much money it made. Really good. Really good descriptions from behind the scenes. I wish there would have been more actors from the movie, and Mariska Haggerty from Law and Order Special Victims Unit. This is actually one of her first roles, and she's so pretty. She's so cute. Still good looking woman to this day, and she's just really cute in this movie. It's nice to see her here. The one thing about this movie is number one, it's a story of black magic. So there's a lot of really, in the words of John Carpenter, mystical black magic goobly-ga that really doesn't make any sense. It really sounds like it's just being made up on the fly. Interesting in the behind-the-scenes features, the gentleman Michael Desbarres, I think is how you say his name, who was in that 1980s rock band, who made an appearance on Miami Vice episode, and he did too. He was just basically saying how, like, when you're doing this stuff, he said it's so hard to like not laugh because it's just so ridiculous, So he said half the time when you're doing this, I want your soul. He said half the time he's just really just trying not to laugh. And, he also admitted too, like, hey, I needed a paycheck. That's why I did it, So he gives a really good interview on this disc too. And commentary, not worth a crap. I love commentaries. This one started out pretty good. And then basically until the end and the credits come up, which is about maybe the next 50 minutes of the movie, the director doesn't say anything at all. And I literally mean nothing, guys. I mean, we know those garbage commentaries where they go like, this is the scene where they close the door. This is the scene. Oh, this was really hard. He had to pretend to be dead. Sometimes they do those commentaries. He doesn't even do that. My man literally just stops talking. So if you guys get this special edition, those who have it, who haven't listened to the commentary yet, don't even bother. It's a waste of your time. I was pissed. I just thought that was ridiculous. There should have been somebody like Michael Fleischer on there to help coach him through it or whatever. But either way, it's a story of black magic. One thing that also struck me too, aside from the Ghoulies not really being in the movie that much, and it really being a story about black magic, the story is very, very dark in that there's going to be a child sacrifice to this cult in the beginning of the movie, which Michael Desmarais, I'm sorry guys, sue me, I'm saying his name wrong. He's the leader of this cult. He's basically going to kill this child. This chick says, no, it can't go down. He uses the power of his black magic and basically rips her heart out off screen, I might add, but still really nice, gory, practical effect for 80s camera work. She's kind of just going like this, and you see it just kind of going like pulsating. It's a really good effect. Anyway, she saves the kid, and the kid grows up to come back to this house where the whole cult, his sacrifice was going to go down. What you find out later on in the plot is that cult leader was his dad, and his dad's been dead. Who knows how he died, but he didn't die in that part of the movie, but somewhere along the lines he passed away, and Jonathan gets to, that's his name, Jonathan, and the mom from Lionheart, the redhead lady, Van Damme's sister-in-law, they kick around the house, invite some friends over, and Jonathan kind of just spends his spare time cleaning the house and doing seances by himself in the basement, and his eyes turn green. That's essentially Ghoulies, and then all the teenagers that are invited over get killed by the Ghoulies by probably maybe like, I think the last 10 minutes of the movie. Because I was actually surprised. I watched it. This movie's only an hour and 16 minutes, maybe an hour and 20. No, it might be like an hour and like 18 minutes. It's really short. I was surprised. It's shorter than I remember it being. But one of the things, I don't know how this cult operates. I don't know what the main guy's purpose was or what he was doing in that cult. I don't know why he had to sacrifice the child. We don't know when he died. Kind of towards the end of the movie, it's a little muddled, but he kind of comes back and says, Jonathan, I want your youth. So I don't know if he was sending Jonathan messages from beyond the grave to trick him into bringing him back. Because they don't explain how the cult leader guy died to begin with. So I kind of, there's really none of it makes any sense. It's just really, the whole black magic plot is just a prop for the Ghoulies to pop up. And the Ghoulies only pop up every here and there. Look, they're good special effects for the era. I believe this movie was released in 1985 or 86. So you got to think, and you know, if we're kids were to watch this movie now, they'd laugh at it. But you got to understand, this is way before computers, guys. Way, way, way before. This is 1985. I remember when I was in kindergarten, which was 1986, 87, they had just started us in elementary school on those Apple floppy disks. The kids, you may not know about those, but a really big Apple floppy disk. And the letters were green. So that was just to be, you didn't have CGI back then. So this was really good craftsmanship, especially for that time. And the amount of hard work that had to go into producing those things. Yes, it looks funny now, but a lot of hard work goes into making those little creature effects, guys. So, you know, show a little bit of appreciation for the work that went into that. And it's an era that I really miss. And that's one of the things that I love about this movie. It's bad. It's not good. I remember seeing Joe Bob's Briggs maybe sometime when I was in middle school, 95, 96, something like that. And Ghoulies ran, and Joe Bob Briggs shredded Ghoulies. He shredded it. I mean, he really disliked the movie, which is understandable. I'd have more nostalgia for it because, again, I saw it when I was a child, you know. But I think it's just the purity of a movie like this. A movie that unabashedly is more about creating a gimmick with special effects versus telling a good story, but you bring in popular elements of the day, which the teenagers, because they kind of try to bring in slasher elements with the teenagers and all that stuff. Um, and I remember that was one of the things I liked about it at the time because my older brother, who was 10 years older than me, used to watch all the Fridays and the Nightmares, and I was so conditioned to teenagers go and party and drink and have sex and then they get killed. But this movie was PG-13, so my mother kind of gave me a pass because when I was at mom's house, I was never allowed to watch Friday or Nightmare or any of that stuff. We didn't even have HBO when I was a kid. We only had the Showtime cable network. And even then, my mother would cut me off, I think, after Fairy Tale Theater went off. Shelley Duvall, you all might know about that. That's real old school. But in the Disney Channel, which was a cable channel back then, kids, we're going way back. But movies like this, I got to pass. Gremlins, I got to pass. There's a couple of other ones that are a little bit more frightening now. Legend with Tom Cruise from then, I got to pass on that one until my mother saw The Lord of Darkness and she cut me off that movie real quick. But it's just cool that it's purity of what it is. You know, it's silly, hokey garbage. Michael Desbarres, he even says it in the interview. He says, look, this is a throwaway horror movie. And he even admits that, you know, you can admire the fact that when they made it, they were dedicated to just making a schlocky cheeseball horror movie. And he was like, you know what, if you're dedicated to that, and that's your truth or your vision, then he was like, hey, that's why he said he put forth 100% in that little cheeseball role in that movie, because he saw that even though for him it was schlock paycheck, to them they were 100% dedicated to really just making this little schlocky horror movie. And he said, hey, you know what? I see their passion, so you know what? I'll give it all that I got too. So I think that's a cool little thing. And I think it's also a testament to, digressing guys, to that if you kind of have that Rocky-esque, never give up passion or drive for whatever you believe in, you know, you can pull other people in too who may not be into the things that you like. So that was my nice little Rocky-esque little uplifter thingy for today. But either way, I still like Ghoulies. It's silly, just, it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. The Black Magic storyline, it's just fun to see these pretty, I think they're supposed to be teenagers, but I mean, really, guys, let's look at the entire cast. They're all my age. I mean, we're all talking mid, late 30-somethings. Maybe Mariska Hargitay, she might have been the youngest one in the crew, and the other girl, but they're all just old. Some gnarly little kills. I like the tongue around the throat. That was always one of my favorite kills in the movie, and I just that kill is great. I just love this guy. Just gets laid by one of the hottest '80s chicks. He goes downstairs and there's like a woman that looks like she could be his mom, and she's just dressed in this lingerie, and she's like, "Come here," and he's just like, "Let's get it cracking." And I'm like, wow, this guy has mad stamina. He just got it in, and he's willing to get it in with his girl upstairs, and he's just like unabashedly, look, tongue kisses her, stops and goes, wait a minute, mind telling me who you are? Into which case he gets a gigantic tongue around his throat, and he gets, killed. So this movie's fun, ridiculous fun. Look, those of you who are younger, if you watch it now, I'm telling you, it's not good. But if you like 80s cheese, have at it. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Don't forget to hit the little bell and leave comments down below about those of you who grew up with Ghoulies or those of you who are new to Ghoulies. RMJ Movie Reviews. I will finish up the last couple days of October with my Halloween horror movie reviews. I'll see you guys soon.